Glock 31 Gen 4 357 SIG. Let's take a closer look. Alright, let's take a closer look at this guy. Like you saw from the intro, we are looking at the Glock 31 Gen 4. Of course, 357, they don't like to put the name SIG on there, but we all know what it is. And it has been safety checked. And yeah, I am surprised at this gun, how well it performed. This is the first 357 SIG I have ever owned. Played around with the idea for quite some time. Finally broke down and decided I was going to do it. For a long time I've been trying to push a 9mm to get what I'm looking for. And of course I got this baby set up with the big dots. I love my big dots, you guys know that by now. And I picked up a nice slide cover plate, kind of matches a little bit there. But yeah, I like my slide cover plate. I did install the New York 1 trigger spring in here and a Lone Wolf 3.5 pound connector. Didn't like the pull. For some reason, I don't know if I got spoiled by Smith & Wesson or what, but the pull was just a little heavy. So I went ahead and pulled the New York 1 trigger spring back out and put the stock trigger spring in, and I'm still running the 3.5 pound connector. And it's given a pretty decent pull. Of course, reset, not too bad. I do have some Zeb Technologies trigger springs and connectors on the way. I'm going to replace it with Zeb Technology stuff. Give that a try. And I ordered an extra set because I have plans on getting a Glock 33. But see some of the equipment that I already have. Of course, this was for the Smith & Wesson M&P. Baby fits it just like a glove, snaps on there. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better fit. Perfect. Works perfect. Of course, I had this Galco inside the waistband holster left over. That was from my my Glock 37, which these are so close. That's going to work perfect. Gives me a good quality IWB holster. Like I said on a previous video, I had ordered this DeSantis Invader, and yeah, this fits perfect too. This will probably be my go-to holster though when I get the Glock 33. For inside the waistband, I'll probably rock that guy right there. Still got my TLR3 light. Of course, this is going to clip right on here, and you tighten that on, and that gives me a good light for home defense use. Doesn't stick out past the muzzle any, which I like that, even though I do have tape around it. You put a little bit of black electrical tape around your lights, and that stops them from getting dirty. But yeah, this Streamlight TLR3, I'm running these on my my little AR pistol and on the Scorpion. Gives you 125 lumens. Good little light. They're anywhere from 85 to 100 bucks, depending on where you buy them. And I think it's a really decent light. Came with 3 mags, 15 round mags, and I did go ahead and pick up a what we call a fun stick. This is a 22 round mag. This is for the Glock 22. Oop, let's just move the camera wherever we want it. That's for the Glock 22, but as you see, it fits in. It functions perfectly. Locks the slide back. I mean, it works fine. So no reason not to run these. And for a magazine carrier, I had gotten rid of my magazine carriers when I sold my Glock 38. But I picked up one of these guys. And believe it or not, this is made by Caldwell. Caldwell's been coming out with some pretty cool stuff. I don't know if you remember seeing that magazine loader. But yeah, this is their TAC Ops, and they make it in several different styles. This is the one that they have for Glocks, and price on these is not too bad. I think it was like 22 or 23 bucks. And I got me another one of the mag packer. This is for your Glocks and your larger magazines. These are by DeSantis. I like to pocket carry my spare magazine. It keeps it off the belt line, keeps it right there where it's easily accessible. Of course, here's some of those V-crown loads. That's a 125 grain. And we'll look at some data here in just a minute that I crunched. But let's go ahead and look at some targets. Here's some of the first shots. Yeah, I was pulling her a little bit high and left. Didn't really know what to expect out of this as far as recoil and stuff. It's not that bad. It's not anywhere near where I thought it was going to be. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, back in the day, I used to rock 357 mag revolvers all the time. I didn't think they were that bad, and this is not that bad. I mean, to me, even with the hotter loads, it felt like plus P 9mm. I mean, not really horrible. So we went ahead and set some more targets up. Moved into 5 yards. 5 shots with the 124 grain FMJ. That's the Elite Performance stuff. Take a look here. Here's your box. They're saying 1354 at 506 foot-pounds. And we'll address that here a little more in a minute. But groups, not bad. Pulled a couple. Went ahead and moved in and shot some of the V-crown stuff. That's this guy here. And, you know, decent ammo. They're also saying 1356 at 510. And you can see that's not a bad little group. Cutting pretty good little groups. Then we get into the hand loads here. I got some of the berries, the heavy plated hollow base, 124 grain with long shot. These were really nice. I mean, kept all of them in the gray except one. And then here's that same bullet with HS6. That cut a pretty decent little group. So yeah, I mean, that's working pretty good. Of course, move that back up. Yeah, there is 5 shots, almost look like 6. But yeah, that cut a real nice little group. Had a flyer. I mean, I kind of felt that when I pulled the trigger on that flyer. Then we moved in and tried some of the 124 grain Hornady XTPs with long shot. And that cut a real nice little group. All centered up real nice. That's why I hesitate to try and move sights on anything until I shoot it a while. This is hitting dead center. The 124 grain with the HS6, yeah, for the most part it hit dead center. I did pull one. So sights are on. I mean, I just center them up, glue them down, and they seem to work. We did some 115 grain Sierra hollow points. I wanted to try a lighter bullet. They didn't hit too badly either. One little flyer here, but for the most part, grouping decent. And this little bit of left, I'm not worried about. I'm going to wait till I shoot, you know, a couple 200-300 rounds through the gun. I'm sure everything settles in. I'm seeing too many groups that are centered up to worry about them not being centered. I know it's probably me, because anytime I get a new gun, it takes me a while to get used to the trigger pull, get used to, you know, the sights and everything. So I'm not worried about it. I know it's hitting straight. Now let's crunch some numbers here. We'll go ahead and check the numbers out here. Let me go ahead and we'll roll in the chronograph data, and then we'll come back and look at these. Okay, now we come to the chronograph portion of the show. First 5 are going to be 125 grain SIG factory full metal jacket. Next 5 are SIG V-Crown 125 grain. Okay, now we're going to reload and do some hand loads. First 5 in the hand loads is going to be 124 berries. It's the heavy plated bullet over HS6. Now we're going to do Hornady 124 grain XTP over HS6. Okay, now we're going to do berries heavy plated 124 over long shot. And finally, we're going to do 124 grain Hornady XTPs over long shot. Our final load is going to be a Sierra 115 grain jacketed hollow point over HS6. All right, we'll get home and we'll crunch some numbers. All right, like you saw from the chronographed data, can't talk today either. The factory loads, they were actually averaging a little bit faster than standard, which I believe SIG is running their loads out of a 4-inch barrel. This is out of a 4.46, so yeah, a little bit longer barrel. Pretty good foot-pounds of energy there and decent velocities. We move into the hand loads with HS6. Not too bad. I actually, for being slower, that's not too bad. That's kind of the numbers I was looking for out of my 9mm. If I could have got that from my 9, I'd have been ecstatic. But you got to really push it to get those kind of numbers. The 115 grain looks pretty good. And then here's the real kicker. Those long shot hand loads on both of those, we're well into the 1400 feet per second range and well over 550 foot-pounds. So yeah, that's definitely magnum performance, I would say. And all these loads are middle of the road. I didn't push anything. I mean, I really, because it's a new cartridge to me, I didn't want to really push it. On cartridges I've loaded before, a lot of times I'll go ahead and just throw them in there and you know, run them. But like here's the 115 grain, the Sierra. And this is a nice bullet for the SIG. The Sierras are real nice bullets because they have a real short profile here, so you can get your overall length very, very easily. Not so much with the XTPs. Here's some of the HS6 hand loads with the XTPs. And you can see the way that is. It was all I could do to get the 1-inch 140 thousandths. If I would have went any shorter, I would have been into this taper. And you don't want that when you're loading. Of course, those berries, the heavy plateds, yeah, I got a little extra wiggle room there too. So they're not too bad. In fact, I think Berries actually makes these bullets for the SIG. So those, you know, those both work real well. The long shot hand loads, yeah, I'm really pleased with those. HS6, to tell you the truth, gives me what I want though. And they're real mild to shoot. And like I said, recoil, even with the hotter loads out of this thing, it's like a 9mm plus P the way it felt to me. I mean, I didn't think it was bad at all. So, you know, there's a look at her. This is going to be my baby from here on out. I'm going to kind of stick with this cartridge. I really like it. I've been playing around with loading it for a while, thinking about it. Now I'm going to do it and pick up that 33. That'll become my EDC. I may even hate to say, may even sell off the 45 shield and get a 40 shield and put a 357 SIG barrel in it. Really, really loving this little cartridge, and I am glad I took the plunge and got into 357 SIG. Not that bad to hand load, a couple extra steps, but it's not really that hard. Maybe I'll do a little video on that someday. But there she is. Just wanted to show her to you. So, like I always say, either we stand up for our rights or we can sit by and watch them go away. You all have an awesome rest of the weekend. We'll talk to you later. Tennessee Frank out of here.